Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm here to share the story of Katie and Jennifer in this very interesting movie that I just recently came across, and I just had to give you guys a review regarding it because it's actually really good.
Is this them?
Yeah.
I want to be a part of everything from now on, okay?
Understood.
I'm so relieved. I've been stressing all day, you have no idea.
So basically, if you guys don't know, this one is a Canadian psychological drama that follows Katie, an university student who has successfully faked a diagnosis to become a campus celebrity and to secure financial gain for herself. Yes, so this is the whole plot of the movie and what is centered around. And obviously, in this case, she is a lesbian because she has a girlfriend that her name is Jennifer. But before we get into further details and actually discuss a little bit more regarding it, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. So basically, the lesbian plot centers on the characters Katie and her deeply manipulative relationship with her girlfriend Jennifer. So Jennifer, she's basically, part of a wealthy family. Like basically, her family does have money; they have financial wealth. On the other hand, we have Katie. Katie's family is kind of destroyed. Her father and her, they don't have a good relationship since her mother passed away. She and her father, they just don't get along like with each other at all. And her father could already see through her that she's lying with the diagnosis. But, obviously Katie is still in denial and she also doesn't want to tell him the truth. So Jennifer is Katie's primary emotional support system, remaining loyal and basically steadfast even as others begin to doubt, Katie's diagnosis. Katie uses Jennifer's trust and financial resources to help, sustain her fundamental lifestyle. Because in this case, it came to a point where it was actually very difficult for, Katie to, keep up with a lie. She had to go through a lot of processes to get, to do in this order to get fake papers, to get fake diagnosis in order so that she can go through a system where she can gain more money when it comes to, programs, when it comes to donations, when it comes to fundraisers. And one of the fundraisers that, Jennifer and her family were actually organizing for her. So yes, this one is a very, very like emotional type of lesbian manipulative type of movie that I would say you have to watch. So you can basically see that firstly, Katie, she needed to fake her documents, so that she can send it up for submission for, a fund that she needed when it comes to a financial aspect. So, there she had someone that could help her with it, and it was a doctor. So the doctor actually ends up, creating these papers. But obviously, Katie, she didn't have the money to pay for it. So Jennifer actually ends up giving her like $2,000 so she can pay for it. But obviously, in order for her to get the papers, they went through a whole drum oil and things didn't go as planned because the doctor who did the papers for her actually ends up going back to his country because his mother passed away. And now Katie was in a they've basically a very like desperate position in order to get these papers in her hands. Later on, you can clearly see that things definitely started to take a big mega turn because there's where everything started to go from 0 to 100 real quick and very fast. So how things started to basically, get unveiled when it comes to Katie's situation is when she actually went back to her father and she asked her father for help. And her father basically told her that no, he's not going to help her because he knows that what she is doing is a lie and she needs to come up with the truth. Katie and him, they got into this very big argument. And then when Katie went back home, you can clearly see that her father ends up making a Facebook post, and there's where everything actually ends up unveiling. And there's when obviously Jennifer starts to have her doubts. Later on, we can clearly see that Katie went through a process where she was trying to do damage control. She even consulted a lawyer that, gave her advice on what to do if she is actually faking it. And obviously, Katie, she already knew she was too deep in the lie and she just needed to keep the lie going. Later on, by getting another doctor in this case to help her, but obviously that doctor ends up costing her a lot of money as well. And then obviously it came to a point where Jennifer started to question her, and she actually ends up keep on lying to Jennifer and telling her like, no, it's not true. I am. Why don't you believe in me? You're the only person I have after I lost my mother. I want you. I want you. I'm not lying. And she just keep on lying and lying and lying and lying and lying. Later on, things got way more difficult because now they are at a point where, Kate actually ends up realizing that she does have dominance over Jennifer, and that Jennifer will just stick by her side no matter what. Obviously, I have to say one thing I didn't like or understand about the movie. It kind of ended very, very confusing. I don't know if she got caught. I don't know if in this case she would have been processed for faking it. I don't know. It was just a whole lot that I feel like didn't get explained by the end of the movie, but overall we can see that by the end of the movie, obviously Jennifer starts to have her doubt, because it came to a moment where Jennifer had to say, I believe you, even though your father is saying this. And she actually, in this case, Katie, later on, she ends up faking messages from her father that tells her that, hey, like, I'm sorry for the post and all of that. And all of it, Jennifer starts to believe that lie also, and then obviously they made up and everything was okay. But by the end of the movie, we can see a very big how can switch in this case in Jennifer. They went to a radio station because Katie got called up to do an interview to discuss, the controversies that she had going on, because everybody was starting to suspect in this case that it was a lie. Even the people that, was helping her with certain financial, situations in order to help her, gain money, obviously started to doubt herself. And also, and it was just a whole lot going on. So we can later on see that this, when she went to the radio station, that's where everything between her and Jennifer finally took, how we can say, a big, big, big tumble. In a desperate final attempt to secure Jennifer loyalty and silence her own growing panic, Katie proposes, marriage while waiting for a radio interview, promising Jennifer that if they marry, she won't be sick anymore. And Jennifer was like, hey, what do you mean you won't be sick anymore? Because Jennifer told her, like, if we're gonna be together from now on, I want to be involved in anything. Because in this case, Jennifer, she never went to no appointment. She never, went anywhere with her when it came to her medical situation. She always wanted to do everything by herself. And obviously, Jennifer decided to, put the points together. And later on, she said if they get married, she will not be sick anymore. That obviously, put out alarms in Jennifer's head. She was like, what do you mean you won't be sick anymore? What does us getting married has to do with you not being sick anymore? So it was kind of a lot going on. And the moment that we see that, Katie goes into the interview, you can just see Jennifer looking, through the TV, and she realized in this case at that moment that, yeah, that, in this case, Katie is lying and that she is living a lie and that she didn't want to be part of it. So she actually ends up standing up and she ends up leaving. So what I could take from that moment is that she realized that Katie was lying about it, and she just decided to walk out on Katie, which makes perfectly sense because, like I said, Katie's father already, like, told the whole world. She blocked her father. Her father actually ends up trying to get into contact with Jennifer, and when Jennifer tried, to be like, in this case, when Katie found out that her father was reading, or in this case, reaching out to, in this case, Jennifer, she ends up blocking, the phone, so that, Jennifer doesn't get any calls from her father. But in more of the story, we can see that, Jennifer ends up walking away from Katie because she realized that it is a lie during that moment where they had a conversation about the marriage. So there is a whole lot that goes on in the movie. In my personal opinion, I would definitely rate it a strong 8 out of a 10. And yes, guys, it is called The White Lie, and it was released in 2019. It's available to watch on Prime Video, Apple TV, Tubi TV, Pluto, on a lot of streaming platforms. I don't feel like it will be difficult to find. It's a classic movie. Me personally, I just haven't watched it, priorly. So, I finally got the opportunity and I took full advantage of it. Hopefully, you all have enjoyed this quick review. Until the next video, and goodbye.